Mr. President, there is no more important congressional responsibility than providing for our nation's defense. There will always be those who wish our nation harm, and our nation must always be prepared to defend itself. More than that, our nation needs to be ready to defend itself because being prepared for war is a strong deterrent to conflict in the first place. As I've said before in this chamber, it's not our strength that tempts our adversaries, but our weakness. Maintaining our strength will ensure that bad actors, whether they're terrorist groups or major powers, think twice before attacking our nation. Or in the words of Ronald Reagan, and I quote, "Well, to those who think strength provokes conflict, Will Rogers had his own answer. He said of the world heavyweight champion of his day, 'I've never seen anyone insult Jack Dempsey,'" end quote. Well, Mr. President, this week we're considering the National Defense Authorization Act, annual legislation to authorize funding for our military and our nation's defense. Like last year's NDAA, this bill focuses on rebuilding our military and ensuring we are prepared to meet 21st century threats. While many take it for granted that we have the strongest military in the world, the truth is, in recent years, our military advantage has eroded. Budgetary impasses combined with increased operational demands left our military undermanned, under-equipped, and ill-prepared for the conflicts of the 21st century. Meanwhile, other major powers have made investing in their militaries a priority, set on diminishing U.S. influence. In November 2018, the Bipartisan National Defense Strategy Commission released a report warning that our readiness has eroded to the point where we might struggle to win a war against a major power like Russia or China. And the Commission noted that we would be especially vulnerable if we were ever called on to fight a war on two fronts. That's not a good position to be in, and restoring our readiness has to be our top priority. We are once again in an era of great power competition, while at the same time we continue to face threats from terrorists and rogue nations. We have to be able to credibly deter and, if necessary, counter any threat. This year's National Defense Authorization Act continues the reinvestment that we've made in our military. It invests in the planes, the combat vehicles, and ships of the future, including the Joint Strike Fighter and the future B-21 bomber, which will be based at Ellsworth Air Force Base in my home state of South Dakota. It authorizes funding for research and development, advanced technology, and it authorizes funds to modernize our nuclear arsenal to maximize our deterrence capabilities. It also focuses on ensuring that we are equipped to meet new threats on new fronts, including in the space and cyber domains. It's important that we invest in these new areas of the battlefield to ensure that we are prepared to meet and defeat threats. And of course, Mr. President, this legislation invests in our troops, the men and women who keep our nation safe and free. This year's National Defense Authorization Act will provide our troops with a well-deserved 3.1% pay increase, which is the largest increase in a decade. It also focuses on addressing the recent significant health and safety issues with private on-base housing. And it contains measures to support military spouses seeking employment and increases access to child care on military installations. It also allows parental leave to be taken in multiple increments, which is often a better fit for our military men and women. Mr. President, I'm pleased that once again the Senate has taken up the National Defense Authorization Act in a timely and bipartisan fashion. There are few bills more important than this one. I look forward to passing the National Defense Authorization Act later this week and ensuring that our military men and women have the tools that they need to defend our country.